Okay, they were predicting the Buffalo Bills record. So overall, their team looks stacked. If you look at their depth chart, like every single position looks there's at least like a star position player at every single position. Their offensive line improved, could be better with Connor McGovern that they signed free agency. Their run game, hopefully, as long as Cook continues to get better. And run game doesn't matter too much because of Josh Allen. Like their defensive line, defense overall looks really good. Only problem maybe injuries. A lot of people are coming back from injuries, and they do have a few injury-prone players. So hopefully that doesn't become a problem. But team-wise, healthy-wise, their team looks stacked. The Bills team, I think, I'm probably at this point maybe has an underrated roster because of how stacked they are. So let's see how they do. So if your first game versus the Jets, not an easy start. The Jets are starting, and it's going to be Aaron Rodgers' first start. It's going to be a Monday nighter in New York. That crowd is going to be crazy. The Jets do have a lot of talent, especially on their defense. Their offense is a bunch of new pieces coming, and they do have a new OC in Nathaniel Hackett. So I think the Bills' continuity will steal them the win in week one. And then you have week two against the Raiders. The Raiders really didn't improve. Their defense is still leaky. Their offense, without it's Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. That's pretty much only the Raiders' offense. The Bills are just way more well-rounded. Their defense can slow down the Raiders' offense, and the Bills' offense should go right through that butter of a Raiders' defense. So I have the Bills winning. And then you have the Commanders. Commanders, they're just kind of in purgatory right now. Their team do have some star players like Terry. They do have Chase Young, who should get healthier, Sweat, but they just don't have the same amount of talent as the Bills do. Every single position, the Bills are pretty much better than the Commanders, so I'm taking the Bills. And you have the Dolphins. Bills versus the Dolphins. Last year, all three games went down to the wire, so I expect another close one for this. Um, Dolphins do have a talented team. They do have Vic Fangio, who should improve a defense that has talent like Jalen Ramsey, Holland, Wilkins, Wilkins, who Josh Allen does not like. Though I do think the Bills' defensive line will cause problems for the Dolphins' O line, which isn't their strong spot. Dolphins' offense could also cause problem for the Bills, but the Bills do have home field advantage, so I'm taking the Bills here. You have the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I think is pretty similar to the Dolphins. Jaguars have a really explosive defense, or offense. The Jaguars have a really explosive offense with a good trio of wide receivers and tight ends, and a good run game, which can cause problems. I think Bills defense might struggle against the Jaguars, but Jaguars defense I don't think is good enough, so I'm gonna take the Bills. You have the Giants. Giants, they're always gonna be that dark horse team that can cause an upset, but I don't see that happening. I think the Bills are too well coached to lose, so I'm taking the Bills here. And you have them versus the Patriots. Patriots always cause problems for the Bills. The Bills, I think the Bills swept them last year. So Patriots with Bill Belichick, that defense is always going to cause problems for Josh Allen and the Bills offense. But Patriots offense, even with Bill O'Brien, I don't think it'd be enough to overcome a good Bills defense. So I'm gonna take the Bills. Then you have them versus the Bucks as a Thursday nighter. The Bucks have to travel up to Buffalo. Bucks with Baker Mayfield is not going to do very well, so I'm taking the Bills. We have a mini bye week, and you have the Bengals. Will the Bills get revenge for the Bengals for knocking out for them in a championship game? I don't think so. I think the trio of Bengals receivers plus Joe Burrow will be too much for that Bills secondary to handle. And even though the Bengals defense kind of went stagnant this season, they still can cause problems for Josh Allen since the Bengals do have a very good defensive line. So I'm gonna take the Bengals here. Then you have them Monday nighter against the Broncos. Broncos are coming off a bye, definitely a trap game for the Bills. Broncos defense, I think they'll take a step back, but their offense, I think will take a step forward. They could potentially steal this one, but with Sean Payton as head coach, but I'm still taking the Bills here. And you have them versus the Jets. Like I said, the Jets are usually really tough on the Bills, and even though the Bills do have more talented of a offense in terms of skill position and quarterback, I think the Jets. This is going to be defensive game. I think the Jets defense does just enough, and I have the Jets winning. Then you have them versus the Eagles. Eagles are Super Bowl contenders. Um, I think their offense will be too much for the Bills to handle, and the Eagles also, they're just probably one of the most stacked team. This is going to be one of those high-powered matchups. I'm excited to see this matchup, but I'm just going to take the Eagles. And you have the Bills coming off a bye, and then you have them versus the Chiefs. Chiefs, talent-wise, they're not the best. I think the Bills' defensive line can cause problems on Patrick Mahomes, and I think the Bills' defense will be good enough to handle um, Mahomes wide receivers. Chiefs defense, I think, can also cause problems for the Bills. Both offense, I think, will do well, but I'm taking the Bills here since they're coming off a bye. Then you have the Bills versus the Cowboys. Cowboys are another very talented team. Defense can definitely cause problems for the Bills. Their offense can also cause problems, but Bills are just as talented, and they do have home field advantage, so I'm taking the Bills. And you're getting late in the year versus the Chargers. Injuries are starting to pile up, and I think that's a huge home field advantage, especially on a Saturday for the Chargers. Bills have to travel all the way to the Chargers. I think Bills offense can do good against a not great Chargers defense, but both offenses should do well. But I'm still thinking the Chargers have too much of home field advantage. And you have the then versus the Patriots again. Like I said earlier, Patriots do cause problems. Their defense definitely is tough. And their offense is average, but I see the Bills sweeping the Patriots. You have the final week versus the Dolphins. Could be a potential win the division game. Maybe, maybe not. Depends how well the Dolphins do. But Dolphins, like I said, pose a problem for the Bills, especially on the Bills' defense and the Dolphins' offense, which can get those explosive plays as long as both teams are healthy. But Dolphins do have a big home field advantage, so I'm taking the Dolphins here. So in the end, of the Bills going 12-5, 4-2 in the division, 8-1 at home, and 4-4 away.